Hey, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. All right. Today I'm going to talk about a new idea that I have, and I just built a prototype, and it seems to be working. So I'm going to share with you what I've done so far and where it's going. What it is basically is an air filtration system for your shop that is portable. You can move it around the shop, and it can be used either with plugging it into 110 or using the Ryobi battery. In order to make one of these, you need two basic pieces of material. You need this, which is the fan, the Ryobi fan. That's the P3320. It's a hybrid fan, so you can plug it into 110 or put a Ryobi battery in here to run it. It's a 2-speed fan. I believe I cannot find any information on the CFMs of this. I think it's between 200 and 300 CFMs. It might be 475 because I seem to remember having read that somewhere, but I have not been able to find where I found that information out. So the 475 is stuck in my head, but I'm not sure it's really quite that many CFMs. Anyway, if you know where I can find that information out, let me know. I would appreciate it. I'd love to know what I'm dealing with exactly if I could. Anyway, in order to make this work, I had to break one golden rule that I hate to do, but I'll do it if I have to, and that is to actually modify the tool to enhance what I can do with it, or turn it into a multitasker, which is what I'm doing in this case, because it's a great portable fan I can put anywhere in the shop and get direct coolness from it. Or now I can take this and put it onto my air filtration box in just a minute or so, and then I have an air filtration portable that I can move around the shop then very easily to wherever I'm creating a lot of dust. And because I have two of these, I can actually put two of them and run them both while I'm doing something creating a lot of dust. The two speeds are nice because on high speed while I'm creating dust, but even after the dust is done, I can just turn the speed down to low speed and it'll still continue to filtrate the air, but it just won't do it as rapidly. So, because it runs at a lower speed. I think so far I've been really pleased with it. I think I've got a really good working model now. So let's go over what I have. Let me show you the modification real quick. If you look at this one real close, you can see these little bumps right here on the outside perimeter. Everywhere there's a little frame piece coming all the way out. These bumps will interfere with sealing against here because this thing just kind of sets on top of there like that in order to work. And so you have to have a good seal between here and there. I ground these away on this fan. They're flat now. They don't have to be perfect, but you want to get them pretty close to being flat. And then now it sets down onto that weather stripping perfectly flat and seals against it very easily. And I'll go over the whole thing and how it seals, and we'll take a look at that here in a second. But I wanted to show you that modification between the fan and the unit. So to use it, all you have to do is put, oops, there it is. Oh, I dropped it. My handle. So I just set the fan on here, and you can set it on there anywhere you want, as long as you see black all the way around it, then you know that you're setting on there okay. Then you just take your seat belt, put it on there, and I just took it over the top, and that holds it all together. So now this thing is ready to use. All I got to do now is just plug the battery in or plug it into a power outlet, and it's ready to use. So I plug it in to use it. You just turn it on, and it's that simple. All the dust in the air, all this air in this area is all coming in and going in around in here. This is the intake on my air filtration system now, and it's definitely sucking the air in. And if you look carefully out here, you can see it's blowing it out. And it works real well. So while I'm creating dust, I can put it on high speed. When I'm done creating the dust, but I know there's still dust in the air, I can switch it over to low speed so it's not so loud. and I'm not just listening to it while I'm doing assembly or whatever I'm doing, and it'll continue to help filtrate the air back down to a very clean level. It works really great at this point, it seems to. So let's take a look at how I made it and why I did the things I did in it. And what I learned from this, because I do have 2 fans, I'm going to make a second one, and we'll go over the changes I'm going to make and why when I build the second one. It's going to be a little different than this one. So let's take a look at this and see exactly what is going on here. So first thing I'm going to do is, this is just surgical cord with a couple of hooks, a couple of screws, and I just strap it over to hold it down against there. That pulls it down against the seal to give me a tight seal for when the fan is working. Everything coming in here has to come out down here. So the way it works, let me get this off so I don't lose it. And let's take a look at this. On the inside, this is just a 5-sided box. And the reason it's a 5-sided box is because I use these filters here. I can take this panel off right here on each side. A screw, 2 screws hold each panel on. And this panel are rabbited, so this thing sets up under the lip and cut out on the inside. So when I take this panel off, I can lean it out and pull it down and out of its placement. So I can replace them by pulling the panel, then I can replace the filter. On the inside, I also have a pre-filter. I just cut it out of a regular filter. I bought it by the roll, a big large roll of it, and I cut these. But if you wanted to, you can just buy one 20 by 20 filter for a couple of bucks and cut out 5 squares like this out that fit into your unit, or 4, or whatever you need. But anyway, these are just pre-filters. That really will help make those filters last a lot longer, because all the bigger dust will collect in this. You just take it out and shake them out and then put them back, and most of the time then the only thing getting to the filter, it'll take a lot longer to actually clog up that filter to where it has to be replaced. So you can increase the length of that by a lot. Now what's really strange, that all my air filters that I built, I pretty much use a pre-filter on all of them anymore. And the reason is that it does really extend the life of your paper filters by having that fiberglass pre-filter in there that it goes into it first. And since the air flow goes from here into the box, it's going to go through these first, then through the filter. So that airflow is going to help hold these in place up against the other filter. Will it get everything? No, but it will make these last a lot longer. So this is worthwhile, trying to figure out a way to put some pre-filters on your filters anytime you're building some kind of air filtration. If you look at my one on my 20 by 20 box fan, I have a pre-filter on that also. So it really does help, is what I've learned a long time ago. So anyway, I built mine out of a 5-sided because I bought 5 of these in a packet. I will leave a link to it. It cost $9 for all 5 of these. And I thought that'd be pretty cheap for an air filtration system. Even if I get to a point where I have to replace these filters down the road, it shouldn't cost that much. I bought them off of Amazon. I'll leave you a link so you know where I got that. The fan, you got to already have that P3320 fan from Ryobi in order to do this project. Because of the diameter of the fan, my opening here is 8 inches. And when I laid this foam down, I used a 1/4 inch wide, 1/8 inch thick weather stripping, sticky on one side. And I started here and I went around the inside diameter of my hole that I had pre-cut in the lid. And then I kept going and I wrapped it 3 times. I started here, went 3 times and ended here. That gives me, because this is 1/4 inch wide and 1/8 inch thick, it gives me a 3/4 inch wide padding that the fan can sit on. That's why I said that as long as you can see the black on the outside of that fan, when you set it down, you know it's sitting on there and will seal. And because that is pretty close to being perfectly flat, and this is perfectly flat, it'll set down on there with that little bit of pressure from that safety belt. That thing does push down on there just enough that it keeps it nice and sealed. So it seemed like a pretty good solution, and it works very simply and very well. So anyway, I think that's about it. I wanted to kind of go over how I built this. I am going to build a second one, and let's go over what I'm going to change on that one. I may buy some 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch thick weather stripping instead of using the 1/8 inch. The reason I use the 1/8 inch here is because I was afraid this inner circle of 8 inches, that if I start putting my 1/2 inch wide material down, it'll buckle up as it tries to make the circumference all the way around to make the ring, rather than staying perfectly flat. And I was worried that would create a problem for the fan to set down on it. I would still probably do at least 2 wraps with that, so you get an inch wide area. But this actually worked out real well using that 1/8 inch. I have to tell you, they went around there nice and neat. They locked into each other without any problem. And this thing does seal perfectly at this point. So you can do what you want with the weather strip. The other thing I'm going to do on the new one is I am going to use some 8x10 filters, MERV 8 furnace air filters. And I bought a set of 4 of those for, I believe, around $18, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll have about $10 more in that one than I do in this one. And it'll be a little bigger box, but it'll be a 4-sided box instead of a 5-sided box. So construction will be a little easier. I think that these things might actually be a little bit almost too small. Not enough of the air going through. I get just a little bit of blowback because I think that it's holding back the air a little more than I like. Now, I can solve that problem with these by adding some kind of filter in here. And I did find a 10-inch round filter that just sets into the hole, has a nice plastic ring on the outside so you can get it to seal. So I may cut a hole here and put that filter in here and then little legs on it to hold it up off of the tabletop. So when it's sitting here, that filter will also filter down and through that filter. And that'll add a lot of air filter surface to what I've already got. And I think that'll take care of any back pressure that I have. I'm not sure it really needs it. On low speed, it's going to be the same whether I put that filter on or not. The high speed, I think it's just not quite enough. So once I go to the 4 8x10, I'm going to see how those will look and how they work in comparison to this with the same fan. And we'll see if there is a difference. And I'll let you know what I find. If you do something similar to this, let me know what you find out. But the back pressure on this was the only thing that I had reservations about from the beginning, quite honestly. I wasn't sure if these filters would work okay for doing that filtering with that Ryobi fan. But it seems everything seems to be working like I had designed it. So you might want to give this a try. It actually works very well, like I said, and I'm very happy with it. It's very easy to pop together, so I can get my air filtrators to go from just a fan to air filtration in just a couple of minutes like this. And like I said, it's hybrid. I can run it off of my batteries or off of 110. So you might give it a try. Air filtration in your shop is an important thing. I try to make sure that I'm always scrubbing the air all the time, but I tend to turn everything on in my air filtration arsenal because I have several of them. I turn them all on if I'm really going to do something that's really going to create a lot of dust in the whole shop. If I'm really doing just like sanding here with my orbital sander and hand sanding, then 1 or 2 of these is more than enough because my regular one is way over there anyway. So by having these close to me, it'll help keep this area much cleaner on air filtration than if all of this has to depend on going all the way over to the other side of the shop to where my big air filtration system is set up. So these are really great. Like I said, they're portable. Give it a try. See what you think. I think you'll find that they actually will probably work very well. I haven't run any tests other than the Kleenex test, and that seems very promising. So it seems to draw a lot of suction here, and I'm getting a definite flow of air coming out of all 5 of them. So I think it's going to work very, very well. I'll let you know after I start using it, and then we'll see where it goes from there. If you have any questions about this, any comments, any thoughts, Now, you can do this. Let me say one more quick thing here. You can do this with any small fan. I used my Ryobis because that's what I had on hand. I got this inspiration from DIY creators. I'll leave a link to that video. He's a great channel. If you watch this channel on this one here, and if you're interested in that, you might try to look at some of his past ones too. He's really got a great, innovative channel. He comes up with a lot of good ideas over the years, and he's been around a while. But you might want to take a look at his channel if you're not already familiar with it. But he's the one that inspired me to make my own small air filtration system. Now, he just took a 440 CFM small fan, very similar in size to this, that ran off of 110, and he boxed it in permanently so that the fan is enclosed, and he put filters on it. And so at this point, I don't think he put a pre-filter on his either, which I always thought that was probably be a good idea to do. But that's what inspired me to build my version. Like I said, mine is different than his. I like to think of mine as a multitasker that's also multifunctional. I can run it on 2 speeds. I can run it as a fan or as an air filtration. Multitasking, win-win. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming by. Leave your thoughts and comments. If you learned something here, you like this video, hit that like button. Most importantly though, please, if you would, come back again because I'm nowhere near done. We'll see you guys again very soon.